What a weird day. Goodness gracious. Let's take a look, see if we've got audio in this. Hi everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. Looks like we might have audio. Goodness gracious. But the audio is not coming through my headphones because of course it's maybe it is now. Now it's coming through. Now it's coming through. Oh man. What what a freaky Monday. Most of the time when I'm working, well, well, I should say this. Most of the time when something crashes on me, it's pretty easy to get it back. Today was one of those rare instances where my machine went down. And again, if you've been following along, I'm on a backup machine this week because my real machine, the super duper one, getting refurbished because it's just tired. It's a sleepy old machine. Um, so I'm on the side machine this week, and this thing went down and was just like it was like a dead horse. It was poking it with a stick. Just would you just move? Nothing. Um, it's back up and running now. I'm still a little curious as to why, and that's the scary part. It's running. Great. What'd you do? I I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I knew because then I'd trust it to use it. But I don't trust it right now. But the good news is it's up and running. We're live streaming, got the YouTubes rolling, got work up. I do have a suspicion though. Here's a suspicion. So, crashed the moment that I started Google Chrome. All right. And I was doing some video work. I'd used Zoom earlier, I'd used Discord for a student meeting, and then I'd gone into Google Chrome. And maybe I had Zoom still open. I know I had Firefox still open, but maybe this machine it's not all that powerful. Maybe it just like totally noped out and said, nope, I'm done. So anyway, I've got suspicions, but nothing that I can confirm because I can't run the diagnostics here. I don't have the fancy schmancy Apple diagnostics kit here in handy. But what I do have is I have student work to review, and I'm excited. Also, we've got we got a lot of stuff to do, so I'm just gonna get this started. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatics. Time for the feedback loop, late edition, because the computer decided to take a nap. We're not going to worry about that. Do want to give a shout out. Welcome to the program, Josue. Josue joining us from South Africa. It's good to have good to have the continent back with us. Um, Today's show, though, is going to focus on we've got work from Abby, we've got work from Bren, and Bren I gave some feedback too, but I still want to like go through the process and take a second stab at it live. So I'm kind of thinking through as I'm going through testing her prototype, and then obviously Abraham. Abraham is busy trying to get his portfolio ready, and he's applying for jobs. And we wish Abraham the best of luck as he jumps into this next level of his next step of his journey. He's been working for a while, but now he's stepping back out there. So you know what? I'm going to share my screen. Let's go ahead and get this started. All right, let's go ahead and start with Abby. She's over here in Webflow. I've already told you Webflow. I kind of tolerate you. Abby, this is actually, it's coming along. I do think that you've got too much space down here. If we were coming in here and looking at like you've got this nav and then the hero and then the design process is way down here. I'm almost certain that one of these is like got some crazy padding or something between so I'm not seeing it right away though. I don't see any sort of crazy padding going on. So I am am a wee bit curious as to how this is all kind of pushing away from one another. Obviously, I see the negative here, kind of bringing this up into the fold, but I don't completely and I also notice that you've like reformed this. I don't think the comma is necessary here, just between you and me. And if we go into preview mode, like right now, there's just a ton of space up here, and you've got, I realize that some of this is the image that you're using is going all the way up to the top. So I think you might want to really recrop this. Let's go back. Let's get out of preview mode. If you look at this image is only going to go up so far. So I would recrop this, and bring this image back in so that you don't have all of this going on. And that would allow you, when you get into this larger mode, not to have the space up here. But the bigger thing here is I think I would bring it in from the sides, so that this isn't as big. I think what you're really looking for is you're looking for that image to kind of show up in this space on a desktop. And to do that, you're going to need to probably measure in, from the side, something more like this, um, to make that happen. You could also, frankly, just lift this completely up and have it go into that nav bar. Um, you could do that, but I think cropping this would give you a lot more flexibility. Um, and then as you come down, I am looking at the space down here as being potentially just too much. Um, and there it is. I picked up on it. You've got this 450. It looks like it's on section 2. If we just change that to 200, well, that's not enough, clearly. So it's interesting to me that you need 450, for the spacing at all. So I want to get a better sense of why that's happening to you. Um, this hero, there was some spacing below. There's 40, and 40 I get. And there's the hero. I just don't understand where this is coming from. I'm looking in here. Maybe it's the div block. No, it's not that. It's not that. Certainly not that. So there's some interesting. I only see like padding or margin to the sides. I don't see anything top or bottom that would be pushing this around. So, but I see it, oddly enough, I do see it here. Like here, it's very apparent, and part of this, interesting. So here's your design process. We close this. Just close this. Close this. So design process is here, and this section, which is underneath, has to push down. Why does that have to push down? Is my question. Because it seems, if this is, there's got to be something going on here with this design process. Fit is fill, float. I don't know why you would need float here. You shouldn't, but now I am picking up a relative positioning. We put it static, that moves it up, and then we can get into just using the margin and just saying, okay, maybe 100. And now this spacing is much more reasonable. And I wonder if that's what's happening down here. Is this like relative spacing? Oh no, this is static. And now if we say 100 instead of 450, yeah, that's a lot more reasonable. So here you are. This is your process. These are your case studies. I would switch. It's kind of interesting. Like your process, I think this is really important for like your case studies, not necessarily important for your homepage. Um, but here on the homepage, I'm interested in who you are and then what you've done. This is just kind of getting in the way of getting me to the cookie, which is I'm here for the case study. I'm here to see what you've done in the past. So that's something to think about. But the real thing that I was really struck by is like this was set for some reason to relative, and that was giving you this 300 relatively speaking this needed the position of this was relative to the position of that, and that's why you had this going on. You don't really need that. You don't need that relative spacing. You can just go with static and move forward from there. So if you just say, oh, hey, you know what, static, same thing, except now, instead of, if you set a 0, that moves it like right to the bottom. Obviously, you don't want that. But if we come in here and set 100, that's functional. All right. But I would still consider coming in from the edges for smaller breakpoints. You can totally do what you're doing here, but for desktop, when it goes up here, everything gets blown up, and that's the thing that I want to look out for. Okay. You said you had some work on your about page. Let's take a look at that real fast. Okay. Hi, I'm Abby Gordon. She, her. I'm visual designer. Focus on product design. Okay. And here we've got, it says like high school, college, post-grad. So you've probably got some stuff coming here. I'm going to give this a read. I'm not going to do it right now, but I will go through and give this a read. Um, it might be kind of interesting to kind of highlight this information. I'm going to just add space there. Highlight this information and bold it or something, so that like it's pretty clear that as you're reading, there's some stuff over here to the side that is applicable to that, to what you're reading. Um, so I would do that, I think, just to try to tie the two together, because obviously, you know what you're saying here is I've been interested in design since before college. Okay. A lot of people, they kind of find themselves in college. You've been teetering this way for a while, which I still say helps me understand, like, where are you really at? Like my I'll just use my daughter as an example. She's doing video edits. She's 13. Um, I I I think that she could probably do some stuff that some college students can't do right now because they haven't found that lane yet. That's not to say that she's any better or worse than them, or it's not a competition thing. It's just saying that she's found a lane. Abby found her lane in 2015. She's going to be further along in her discovery process than somebody who's finding their lane in 2019, for instance. It doesn't matter how old they are. If you've been selling real estate and you just decided in 2019 at the age of 40 that you were going to jump into design, well, Abby should be ahead of you because she's been here for 4 years longer than you have, even though the age difference is vast. Okay. And that's the type of things. I'm not necessarily judging Abby's design skills by that high school yearbook cover, for instance. That was something she did in 2015. She was a high school kid. Okay, it ain't great. Okay, but I can tell you that there's stuff that I did as a kid. It ain't great. There's stuff that I did yesterday that ain't great, to be completely honest. But you got to hold yourself accountable, right? Anyway, um, but I do think it's always interesting to see the arc, and you're doing that here. But I do want to kind of come through and give this a closer read, but I would try to tie those together. I'm also interested in what ends up coming in down here. Are these clickable? Is that what we got here? I would go through and try to make these clickable as well. And if we turn that off, get out of there. So if I'm interested, as we look at this in the image, typography, background, borders, effects. Let's see here. Image settings for in-page scaling, visible on all devices. Replace image. Alt text loads on scroll. Okay. So if we put an element trigger on this, if you mouse over the element, I don't want it to play the animation. I just want it to display. This is something we want to look at a little closer. I'm going through here, I'm going to trash that for a second. So we don't necessarily need that, but I would come in here to interactions and make it to where, let's try to get this to display larger. That would be the only big thing that I would look to add here, because right now these are so small that you can't really see them. And I know that that is something, might actually even be one of these shapes that we, not a symbol, but an element that we want to look at here. Is that something that's built into the image viewer? No, it's not. But we can figure that out. It's should be relatively easy. But I'm gonna get rid of that for right now. And oddly enough, this doesn't save anyway. So so the big adjustments though, Abby, I'm looking for are over here on your homepage. Um, Basically getting this spacing back so that it's not, when I refresh this, it's going to show us some like crazy spacing, and that's definitely one of the things that we want to clean up, because this is just too much. And then I would look at the order and throw this, but and even design process. I might, even if you decide to keep it, I'd be like, my design process, and I might even put like a sentence or two with this to kind of better explain, okay, why are you showing me this here? Um, okay, so that said, let's go ahead and jump over, and we answered, oh no, maybe these are new questions. Fixed hero, added in text, to cram putting photos about me, should I put below, any important piece of mission should I include on about me? Photo margin of the hero is negative to line it up, since it's filling a tall rectangle, but the PNG, but the file is tall. Is that why? Yes, that is why it's doing that. So you were specifically asking a question about the height of this file. So as you can see, if anybody's following along, her image ends really here, but the PNG file she moved over is tall. You've got to crop that out, and that is why for this section you're having to go into this negative 152. If we turn that off, it obviously pushes everything down awkwardly, and that only makes it worse when you get into this preview mode. Now your head's barely poking up over the breakpoint. So, or not breakpoint, but the fold. Anyway, that I would make those adjustments, Abby. So make those, and let's get this back in for another review tomorrow. Let's jump into Abraham's page real quick. Abraham, I know you're doing a lot of work here. Um, we're going to make a very minor thing right now. Let's see here. Let's inspect element. Oddly enough, this is going all the way across right now, but for some reason, this two column is not starting at the same point, which I find oddly fascinating. If I'd have said, I'm just going to say display block. That's interesting. So this is going all the way across, but it's not. Yeah. Interesting. There must be something that's going on the first column here. What I'm really trying to do, Abraham, is I'm trying to get these to line up across. Although it does kind of line up here, I don't think it's going to do that when I go larger. Yeah, it throws itself off. The big thing I was attempting to do is to make this line just go all the way across, so that these two paragraphs would just, the baseline grid would just line up. That's not happening here. So if there's anything we can do to solve for. It's a little nuanced thing, to be completely honest with you. But I think it would definitely improve just a tactile uh, design piece of the puzzle that I, as a design professional, I'm looking at. I'm like, huh, man, lack of detail on typography, like just making it line up. Let's go back to the homepage though. So New York-based UX designer currently working at Almond Health. I think that's great. I love the fact that you have addressed the, are you a boot camp student? No, I currently work at Almond Health. It's right there in the intro. Perfect. Okay. A lot of people aren't sure, especially if it's like a company I haven't heard of. Like if I'm going down here and I see, oh, it's something called Almond. Is that a made up company? And let's be honest, 90% of the companies that all your friends work at, you wouldn't know if your friends didn't work at them. Okay. Same thing here. I wouldn't know what almond was. You could have made that up. NewPragmatic. That's not a thing, is it? Yes, it is a thing. Well, I've never heard of it. That doesn't mean it's not a thing. Almond. That's not a thing, is it? No, it's a thing. Just because somebody hasn't heard of it doesn't mean it's not a thing. Insure Africa. Anybody heard of Insure Africa? Josue has heard of Insure Africa. He's working on that project right now. Is that a real thing? Yes. Yes, in fact, that is a real thing. So, but I think you've doubled down on that. You said, "Hey, listen, I'm working here. This is a place where I work." Or anyway, bottom line, I think you solved that problem very very effectively here, and you link to it. So I'm going to pull it up and boom, here it is. Um, so that's great. Almond Health, awesome. Let's keep going here. I like the fact that I'm seeing the designs. I would, this is kind of, it kind of goes into the problem we've had before, which is I'm seeing the final design. Are there any sketches, any notes? Like, are there any, for instance, and I'm going to get the ye old iPad out for a second. I take a ton of notes, all right? And no, I'll be completely honest with you. All of these do not apply to the projects that I'm working on, okay? But if I'm working on something and I've got for instance, and I'm just going to show, you know, if I've got notes like this that I could put, things with arrows pointing to, you know, approaches to a design, or if I've got like a simple wireframe sketch that I put together, kind of explaining, these are just notes I took from a research study, but I'm thinking, okay, could I layer those behind? Could I layer some notes that I've taken on the project behind, even if it's not a wireframe? What I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to say something more than the finished product was done here. Okay. And, would it be better if it was a wireframe? Sure, that'd be great. But handwritten notes would also work. Okay. We're telling a story. Okay. Every portfolio is telling a story. And I need you to be thinking, I'm a storyteller. I'm telling a story. I'm bringing people into this process. If you can do that, you'll be set. All right. Let's keep rolling though. One thing I really did like, previously you had this illustration thing at the top. And I really thought that, you've got some designs that you can show, like show those. But here you don't have that. You can't show that yet. But the house under construction is genius because it's like coming soon, house under construction. Ah, I get it. You're still building this. Great job. I like that. It's it's way better than some of the alternatives. Just to be completely honest with you, like like a placeholder image that says coming soon. Not necessary. It already says coming soon over here. Although this says coming soon, and I can click it, and then I go to file not found. So be on the lookout for that, because I don't want you that to be clickable. It can hover if you want to, but take the link off of it, so that people don't accidentally find their way through to a 404 page. Um, yeah. So so that's coming along very nicely. I did want to take a look at, yeah, about page, wireframes. Yeah, let's go through and just take one more quick spin. So that looks nice. Yep, Scott's there. Let's say hi to Scott. Hey, Scott, VP product, something new coming soon. Love it. And you're connected with them, and that's fantastic. Understanding the problem and auditing the old dashboard. I like that. Sketching and wireframing. Okay, we got a wireframe now. We've got a wireframe that like layout A, layout B. This is really nice. This is explaining to me status rejected, status in use. Yep, that's now in code, which is great. Oh, and now you've highlighted that, so I know exactly what I'm looking at. In progress, recent. And now, what's interesting here is I'm seeing, one thing it's kind of weird. It's like you're going back and forth, and, the designer in me likes it. It's like, oh, yeah, it's moving around. It's making my eye move. But at the same time, it's like it's harder to compare. Just something to think about. Not something I need you to like make a hardcore decision on today. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in what you've got going on here. I'm more interested in this now, especially now that I can see not only is this changing, but I can see what is changing in the view. It's like this is a lot more complex than what you were previously positioning it as. So I think this is yeah, this is way better. Okay. All right. So that said, I want to take a quick spin over to Bryn. Bryn has, and part of me has to go find Bryn's program journal. Bryn is testing a number of different user flows in her prototype, and this is pretty interesting. She's got a sign up for account, that's pretty standard. Putting things in a cart, pretty standard, but that interaction is less standard than signing up for an account. Placing the order, standard, but every site does that a little differently. Order history, I had some experience last night with order history that was kind of weird. And so again, I'm top of mind, like that can get weird. User subscribes to Gala apples on a monthly basis. User subscribes to Gala apples on a monthly basis. Okay, so that's the subscription flow as well. All right, so let's take a few of these. I'm going to come over to that prototype setup here, and I'm going to come into, well, first of all, you got to always do the yield, hide the toolbar and footer. So I'm going to come into shop, and I can't do that right away. So you're going to make me go through the sign up process, and this is fine. The only thing we need to remember is that if they haven't signed up, there needs to be a pathway for them to do that later in the real app. Like this is fine if I'm signing up right off the top. So sign up for free. Okay, so now we're in. So I'm going to, another thing that you can always do, like this is something I would keep in mind. I'm going to escape real quick. If you're worried that people are going to cheat, you can hide the hotspots. I like to hide the hotspots because I'm worried they just click the screen, they see where the hotspots are, and then they go to one of those two options. So I'm going to hide the hotspots, and I'm going to hide the toolbar. So now this is real. Okay, this is like, oh, okay, now you gotta find it. It really is an Easter egg hunt. So the prompt here again is the prompt is I need to add Gala apples to the cart. So Gala apples, I got to find it. So I'm going to browse the store. I know apples are a fruit, so I'm going to say fruit and vegetables. I'm kind of looking around here. Honeycrisp, kiwi. Okay, Gala apples are right here, 3-pound bag. I've added it. That's kind of interesting. We've talked about this. We've talked about, and then it went away. We've talked about this fidelity of a wireframe. There are a number of ways that a wireframe can become not a wireframe. One, images, right? Two, finalized typography. Three, interactions. When I saw that interaction so smoothly slide in from the side, I was like, okay. So I'm beginning to see just a little bit more than a wireframe. It's not too egregious yet, but just something to keep in mind. And I do think you've got to do some of that. The question is, where is the line for that? Like where have I gone too far afield? Okay. But I've added Gala apples to the cart, and here it is. And again, this has got information design work to be done. I don't think I would ever have 307 down here. I would want to line it up with the title, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to check out. So this is the information. And this is like contact information. So it's kind of interesting. You have collected some of that if I'm already signed in. So I'm not sure you need all of it. Uh, Street, yeah, that all the Lady Gaga references. I can hear Bryn's house right now. Okay, this is kind of interesting as well. I'm surfacing this information in a really prominent position, and what I'm mostly concerned about is what happens. What happens when I have a big grocery order? Okay, I would consider taking this information and sliding it below, and it's like this is the summary rail, like the details, and then this is like reserved for groceries. Here, it's not a big deal. You've got one thing, okay? But as this gets more complicated, I am concerned like that this is eating up a lot of space. If I've got 20 things in the cart, this is gonna get really long, and I'm gonna wonder why am I always seeing this. Let's place the order, confirmation email, confirmation notification saying that I'll receive an email, and then timing bumps me back to here. What's interesting is, should I end up here? I'm not completely sold because I think I should have an option. Would you like to continue shopping? Would you like to go to your account to review orders? Like I think there's something more than just okay, now back to home. Okay, it's like this is set up like Monopoly right now. I am going to go into the profile, and I want to look at my orders. And here's the recent order. If I want to look at it, it takes me back to there. And then this is an interesting tweak. Do you want to get this item often? Subscribe for 5% off. This is interesting because this is very specific to this item because there's one thing in here. Um, I don't think that you're going to often find yourself ordering this specific item. Like, I think that, there could be the situation where, I click on the Gala apples and I get that same sort of prompt, but this is the order. So, would you like to receive this order often? Uh, you know, would you like this order to uh, want to order it again? So, uh, subscribe now for 5% off. Start a subscription of this order for 5% off. Like there's some language thing that's necessary there. And again, I'm looking for designers to like really finesse that piece of it. But if we hit subscribe, let's see what happens. And now I'm in my subscriptions, and this didn't subscribe it, but it put me somewhere where I could subscribe. And now we've got a frequency, and I'm going to say monthly, and we're going to confirm. And okay, and now I like that. Instead of like bumping me out, you took me to here are your subscriptions. That's why I would like to go to. Would you like to see your orders, or would you like to continue shopping? Like instead of like just assuming that I want to continue shopping, I want to see the order. I want to confirm that the order is actually happening. Um, okay, this isn't bad though. This isn't bad. There's a lot of things that I'm mostly interested in knowing I'm mostly interested in knowing how your um, users that you're, other people that you're doing user tests with, your product testers, I'm interested in knowing how they react. Forget about how I react. I want to know how they react. Okay. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the Feedback Loop. Thank you, Bryn. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Abraham, for jumping into the fray. And thank you, Joe Sway, for signing up. It's going to be great getting in and working with you on your project. And for the rest of you, if you're interested in mentorship, I know exactly where you can find it. Just listen to my friends here from New Pragmatic.